Today's Sunday, October 26th, and this is News from the Frunk, Episode 7. Hey everyone, welcome to News from the Frunk, Episode 7. As you can see, we're not in the Tesla today. We had to relocate. We've got some building work going on next door, and it was getting a little bit noisy out in the front yard. So we've moved around to the backyard, and we're enjoying the Florida autumn. Today we're going to start not with news, but with a rumor. Adam Jonas of Morgan Stanley has been a very good analyst of the Tesla stock and has done some pretty accurate reporting over the last couple of years. He's saying that following a meeting he had, he believes that Model X isn't going to ship in production until autumn of 2015. Now, that is just a rumor, but I spoke to a Tesla exec a few months back who said that Elon was going over the Model X with an absolute fine-tooth comb. They really want to make sure that it's absolutely perfect before it comes to market. So although Tesla hasn't said anything about the launch date or any slippage on the launch date, I believe there may be something to what Adam is saying, and we may be waiting until late summer or maybe autumn before we see Model X finally hitting production. Now some more news about Autopilot and the D. Frunk, who runs the Tesla Tap website, has been doing some analysis of the parts that he thinks would be necessary to retrofit Autopilot into an existing car. So any of you that want to do that, are you ready? He thinks $67,000 once you take the parts and the labor into account. Not a trivial project by any means. So any of you who were hoping that you could retrofit all those features, I think you're probably looking at a trade-in. In other pricing news for the D, a user called Teo over on the Tesla Motors forum checked out the pricing of the textile seats. Now, the upgrade cost from a P85 to a P85D is, I think, $14,600. But $3,500 of that is actually for the enhanced seats, which you don't have to do. So if you took the textile seats, you could actually do a P85 to a P85D upgrade for only $11,100. So the different seat options are $0 for the textile seats, $1,500 for the Napa leather seats, $2,500 for the performance leather seats, where the only real difference is some piping. The actual seats themselves are the same. And $3,500 for what Tesla calls the next-gen seats, which are the new redesigned seats, much more cushy, with new bolsters as well. So if you are thinking about configuring a P85D, then look into those options. And just to reinforce the fact that those enhanced seats are only available on the P85D. They are not available on any of the other D models or any of the single motor models, not even the P85. One of the price changes this week, this time for existing owners. If you check out the Tesla store, the online store, Tesla has reduced the price of the wheel and tire packages. So the 21-inch wheels have dropped from $6,500 to $5,500 in the US store. The 19-inch aero wheels with winter tires have dropped from $4,000 to $3,000, and the 19-inch wheels with base wheels with winter tires have gone from $4,000 down to $2,500. So some great savings there. Switching gears, now some news about the ongoing challenges in some of the states in the US trying to ban Tesla because of their direct sales model and the fact they don't use dealerships. A while ago, Iowa banned even test drives in the state, and this weekend a group of owners got together to not so much defy the ban, but to prove that regulations aren't going to stop people being able to test drive Model S. So the owners got together and let people drive their own cars. A fantastic example of initiative, and I think it exemplifies the community of Tesla owners that we have out there. Similarly, in Michigan, we have news. The governor just approved some new legislation. Now, a lot of people have been up in arms about it because it was hyped as being a ban on Tesla car sales. Now, in fact, that isn't the case because Tesla car sales were already banned in Michigan. So the new law actually just clarifies some wording on the use of dealers by existing manufacturers. And to quote the governor, Governor Rick Schneider, he says, he signed into a new law, "This bill does not, as some have claimed, prevent auto manufacturers from selling automobiles directly to consumers in retail Michigan." Which sounds good, except he goes on to say, because this is already prohibited under Michigan law. Governor Schneider's tagline is "Reinventing Michigan." Well, I guess he's reinventing it back into the 1950s. Sorry to all our Michigan viewers. Hopefully, at some point, you will be able to buy a car legitimately and through those Tesla stores. Now for our regular supercharger update. This week saw 6 new superchargers. Oh, actually 6 new superchargers in China. Plus another 2 here in the US in Bozeman and in Big Timber, Montana. A couple of construction sites have started. One is at Gävle in Sweden and the other one at Innhavet in Norway. Pretty quiet week this week. More details, check out supercharge.info. Now for a year-end prediction on the number of cars. Earlier this year in the Q2 shareholder report, Elon said that the forecast was for 35,000 cars this year. Now, based on the VIN that was released at the beginning of this year and what that would mean for the end of the year, Tesla would need to deliver something around VIN 60,000 in order to hit that 35,000 number for the year. There are reports in the Tesla's Motor Forum, and I've put a link down below, that VIN 61,000, in fact, VIN, where is it in my notes, 61650 has been assigned and is due for a December delivery. So it looks like we are going to overachieve, or Tesla is going to overachieve, on those delivery forecasts for this year, which is good news for everybody. Now some stock news, and reports came in earlier this week that Daimler had unloaded their stake that they've had in Tesla for a couple of years now. I believe it was a 4.5% stake, and they've unloaded that for $780 million. Now, the CFO, Bodo Weber, had to clarify, and he said, "We're extremely satisfied with the development of our investment in Tesla." Well, for $780 million, I'd be pretty satisfied as well. But it is not necessary for our partnership and cooperation, he said, meaning I think it's time to grab some cash. They've ridden that stock rise pretty high. It's also, I read, that they've lost the director position that they had on the Tesla board. And the project with Daimler does continue. The Mercedes B-Class is still under development and is still, Tesla is shipping powertrains for that. But it looks like Daimler have cashed out of the stock. There are also rumors coming out of Japan that Toyota may have unloaded some of the stock as well, but there's only been one story from one journalist on that, and so far there's been no additional validation and no story about how much stock Toyota unloaded if they did. The stock price had a pretty good week, actually. We were up 3.41%, with the stock closing at 235.24 on Friday. That's it for episode 7. As always, links down in the doobly-doo below. Would love your feedback. Please send me your comments, and I look forward to seeing you on episode 8. If you'd like to learn more about Tesla and their amazing car, my book, Owning Model S, The Definitive Guide to Buying and Owning the Tesla Model S, is available online. Link down below.